Let's dive into the Scrum events. Well, the sprint, as they call it, the sprint is a container for all the other events. So see it as like everything's got to be inside the sprint. That is the time box. See it as a box around there, okay? So each event in Scrum is a formal opportunity to do what? To inspect and adapt the Scrum artifacts. Now that might feel like a lot of language, but in reality is, hey, the reason why we're setting up these events is to remind ourselves or give us the forum, right? To go, how are we doing? Inspecting and adapting as we move through it. So if you think about over the course of the year, we have 26 sprints, so we do 2 weeks. We're making boom, 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 inspections and adaptions all the way through. That's the game, okay? Now they said the events are specifically designed to enable transparency, right? Okay, that's what we need to do. So in order for it to work, we can't hide from the facts, put the cards on the table. That's the way we do it. Now, the first couple times we do this, people are going to feel unnatural, like this is not what we usually do. No, total transparency. That's the name of the game. Okay, and so they said failure to operate any events as prescribed results in a lost opportunity to inspect and adapt. Meaning if we're not courageous enough to show the reality of what's going on, we ain't going to learn. We're not going to get better. End. That's the game, right? So that's the way it goes. Okay. Events are used in Scrum to create regularity and to minimize the needs for meetings not defined in Scrum. So here's the benefit. Now, it is different to have to go to these events and have to operate in a certain way and, to share things and to be open and courageous and everything. Yep. But the benefits, dude, it's going to be awesome because we don't have all these other superfluous, unnecessary meetings. We can remove those and it just, boom, puts everybody focused on the work. That's the big thing. Now, they say optimally all events are held at the same time in the same place to reduce complexity, meaning like every day we have a 1 p.m. daily Scrum or 10 a.m., whatever you want, right? Every second Friday, we hold the sprint review, et cetera, et cetera. That's what we're doing. So the people it's predictable, right? Now, diving into the sprint, heartbeat of Scrum. I've said 1 billion times. Bang, bang, bang. That container event, basically we're taking potential ideas, right? And we're cranking them into value. That's the name of the game. Like, let's double circle this. That's what we're really trying to do. Take, ideas and turning them into gold for the customer. That's the game, okay? Now they said fixed length of 1 month or less to create consistency. Now the team can define how long each sprint's gonna be, but you're probably not gonna go 4 months, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 1 week, 4 months, or four weeks, right? You're not gonna jump up and down. It gets erratic. You want to define what do we need and you get a rhythm going. And people might say, oh dude, it's not enough time to get everything done. Well, if we operate with 2 week sprints, what can we get done within the 2 weeks? Frame it as that, okay? Now, remember that a new sprint starts immediately at the completion of the sprint. There's going to be a lot of painful learning through this thing. If we think about a sprint right up against the other one, a lot of times, and I still have problems with this as we're practicing and growing, and you will too, when you get to the end of the sprint, you're going to realize, we didn't test enough. We didn't finish this. We didn't do that. And the natural inclination is saying we'll just do 2-3 days after the sprint and do the final testing, do the QA, push it out. No, that ain't the way it works. It isn't like sprint, little bit of fluff buffer time, and then new sprint. No, if we didn't get it done, we didn't get it done. That's transparency. That's what we realize, right? Courage to see reality. That's what we're going with. Now, here's the deal. If we didn't get it done, we can talk about it in the retro. What kept us from getting things done? What issues? What opportunities? So if we allow ourselves to say, buffer time, we cheat ourselves from the potential of finding the problems. So we must find the problems. And that's in the retrospective, okay? Now, the other thing is, once we start the new sprint after the retrospective is done, then we can say these things are at the top of the backlog now, product backlog, bring them in, work them, and we can finish them, get them done, and push them out 3-4 days into the current sprint, the next sprint. That's possible, but we cannot create this buffer fake zone because then that will grow. People will always know you do not have to get stuff done because the big boss will always give you extra time. And that is wrong. You can't allow that. You have to be focused. You have to be committed to the process. Those are the values: focus, commitment, right? They have to be in there. So cool. Now, all the work necessary to achieve the product goal, including sprint planning, daily scrums, sprints, and sprint reviews and retros, happen inside the sprint. Meaning that, like, hey, here's the 2-week box. All of these different events happen within here. The sprint planning, the daily scrums all the way through, the review, the retrospective, all within the 2 weeks, and then we start another one. That's what we're trying to get at, okay? Now, they say during the sprint, no changes are made that would endanger the sprint goal, right? That we're not just going to willy-nilly move this way and that way. That's really good. Quality does not decrease to say, oh, we're running out of time, therefore just don't do things to the level that we need them to be done. No, that's bad. If we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. And then the product backlog over here outside the sprint, the product owner and whomever they need help with is constantly refining while the team is cranking away. Got it? And the scope may be clarified and renegotiated with the product owner as we learn. Okay, that's what we got to realize as we go through there. Okay. Now, the reason why sprints are so magical, one of them, is that they help to enable predictability by, like, just creating the conditions that we know, we are going to inspect, we are going to adapt the product as we learn and build. So that's what we're trying to do. At least once every calendar month, it says, which means like a sprint maximum length is 4 weeks. But most people, you and I, operate in 2-week sprints mostly. Now, if you said 4 weeks is made up, bro, we could do a 6-week sprint, no big deal. Well, the downside is when a sprint horizon length is too long, the sprint goal is hard to define. It can become invalid. It can be more complex. It can be more risky. It can be more difficult. You think you're giving a team better opportunity to do the work, but in reality, you're not. Being more precise, more focused is better. That's what we want to go with, okay? So, sprints can be employed to generate more learning. That's what we want to do, okay? Smaller time frame, better. All right? And they say here, each sprint may be considered a small project or short project. That's the way to think about it. What could we get done in the next 2 weeks? What could we deliver, right? What could be functional? That's the way to think through it, okay? And they say all these things like burn down chart, burn up, cumulative flows, they're awesome, they're useful, but it's not the purpose, right? The purpose is empiricism, is learning as we go and producing value. That's the goal, okay? All right. Now, they also say a sprint could be canceled. The only person that can cancel is the product owner. They probably have to check up above, right? If the sprint goal has become obsolete, only the product owner has the authority to cancel the sprint. Really remember those points. Now, as we grind through this in a positive way, we got a couple more things to do. We're going to go sprint planning. Now, sprint planning is that first event within the sprint. Makes sense. It's how we plan the sprint. So first half of the day of the first day of the sprint, right? Initiates the sprint, lay out the work performed in the sprint. Okay? Now, this is not a product owner comes in, this is what we shall do. What do they say? Collaborative work of the entire Scrum team. Collaborative work, right? Now, the product owner ensures that the attendees are prepared to discuss. So it should not be, you've never thought about these. You've never seen these. These are total, wow, surprise. No. Product owner's got to get out ahead. Be showing the product backlog items to the team, to the relevant stakeholders, break it down, sizing it right, so that we can have a good discussion to get to a sprint goal, to get to the sprint backlog being fully broke out by the end of the sprint planning, okay? All right? And we can invite whoever we want to in this event, whoever we need to give us advice, guidance, insights, just got to be relevant. That's what we need to do, okay? Now, there's 3 things I want you to burn into your brain, okay? These are the 3 things that we talk about in sprint planning. The topics, 1, 2, 3. Now, number 1, the topic 1 is, why is this valuable? You got to be very clear on say, this is why we're spending money for the next 2 weeks. This is the benefit we're trying to deliver. So the product owner proposes how the product could increase its value and the utility in the current sprint. We're trying to make this big jump. We're trying to make this addition. We're trying to benefit the customer in this way. Be very clear. Now, through the conversation back and forth, the team is going to clarify together what the actual sprint goal is. Now, the product owner can have it in their mind what they think, but they can't come in and just tattoo it on people's arms. They have to kind of collaborate together to define the sprint goal. All right. And this communicates why the sprint is valuable to the stakeholders. All right. Now the sprint goal will evolve, but it's got to be finalized by the end of the sprint. So that's number one. Why are we spending money? Why is it valuable? Number two, what can we be done? We know what we want to do. What can we actually get done? Let's be honest about it. Let's push the boundaries, but not be ridiculous and go like, oh, puppy dogs and rainbows, we can do everything. No, you can't. What can you do? Let's talk about the realities of it. So the discussion, through discussion with the product owner, the developers select. So two big things. With the product owner, the discussion with the product owner, the developers select. The developers select the items for the backlog, right? So if we're empowering people to self-manage, self-organize, we better give them the authority to select the work they're going to pull off. Now it's a discussion, it's a collaboration, but the team picks it. The developers pick it. Now, the Scrum team may refine these items during the process of discussion, but our goal is to increase understanding and confidence. That's why we're having these detailed discussions, okay? Now, like they say here, I love like the common language that they use, okay? Selecting how much can be completed in the sprint may be challenging. That's understating it, dude. Estimation's hard. We're going to do our best. It's going to get better over time, potentially. It says, however, the more the developers know about their past performance, their upcoming capacity, their definition of done, the more confident they'll be in what they pick that they can actually do. So how much we've got done in the past, that's empiricism. Their past performance, their upcoming capacity, like transparency, like who's going to be here, what skills do we have, etc. What's the work about? And then the definition of done, the quality standards. Those are the components that would make us go, oh, yeah, we can get it done, or no. Topic number 3, how will the chosen work get done? So we went from, look at the terms. Why? Let's go to a different color to make it pop. Why? We did why. We did what. And we did how. We didn't start with how. We started with why. Why are we operating? Why are we producing in this sprint? Why does it exist? Why are we willing to spend money? What value are we delivering? So why? What can we actually do? How are we going to do it? Now, who do you think is the key? Who holds the keys on the how? Is it the product owner or is it the developers? Now, the developers plan the work. The developers are the how people, okay? They say like, okay, we're going to take this in. Here's how we're going to get it done. Now, do they need to plan all the work? Like how they're going to do every single day 1 through day 10? No, because it's going to evolve. They need to get enough to get the ball rolling. Switch a new cup of coffee. Here we go. Just as good as the last one. All right. And so this is often done by decomposing the product backlog items into smaller work of 1 day or less. This is where the developers go, let's break this down. Task 1, activity 2, how are we going to do it? And they're starting to look at each other and be like, I can do this, you can do this. All right, let's run, let's go, let's do that. This is all the discretion of the developers. Let's highlight this. No one else tells them how to turn product backlog items into increments of value. No one else. Not the Scrum Master, not the product owner, not their mom. No one else tells them the developers how to turn product backlog items into increments of value. We expect them to do it. They've taken ownership. They're going to do it, but we're not going to tell them how to do it. It's not like you figure it out, bro. It's that you can figure it out. It's you know best. What help do you need? We're flipping the script. All right. So by the end of sprint planning, right? The sprint goal, the product backlog items selected for the sprint, plus the plan for delivering them are referred to collectively as a sprint backlog. So let's do that again. The goal, why we're doing this, where we're shooting, right? What the target for the sprint is, the specific things that we're delivering, and the plan for getting them done. All those wrap up and are combined inside the sprint backlog, right? So that's the little ship that they take and run with, okay? Sprint planning, how long would you think this takes to go through the why, the what, the how? How long do you think that would take? Well, what they recommend for a 1 month sprint, which you, I bet out there in TV land, do a 2-week sprint, right? For a 1 month sprint, 4 weeks, they say 8 hours max. So back of the envelope, 2-week sprint, 4 hours max. And in reality, if you are a product owner, have worked with your team a little bit, got things organized a little bit, have them understand it, and you're good at what you're doing and you communicate, 4 hours is a long time. So it'd probably be less than that, okay? They say for shorter sprints, events usually shorter. 4 hours seems like a long time for a 2-week sprint, but that's under 2 hours or under 4 hours. All right. Woo! We're pushing through, dudes. The next one is the daily scrum. The purpose of the daily scrum, a lot of people call it daily stand-up. The official name is daily scrum. Use daily scrum, okay? Daily scrum is to inspect our progress toward the sprint goal. Who? The developers lead the inspection of their progress toward the sprint goal and their adaptation of the sprint backlog as necessary, adjusting the planned work, right? It's a collaboration. I always like to say the words like for the developers, by the developers. You do not want the Scrum Master to facilitate the meeting. I know that feels weird, but it is right. If the Scrum Master does that, facilitates the meeting, and I know if we go and sample out there in companies in the United States and the world, I don't know what percentage, let's make up a number. High 80s. I bet the Scrum Master's facilitating. They shouldn't be. They should not be. They should be building the capabilities of the team to manage themselves. And that is not facilitating them. That is letting them go, yo, it's y'all's meeting. You guys need to collaborate on how you're doing. I am here to help you. I am here to get the right people in the room to help make sure this happens, all these things. But you are running this for yourself. You're not doing it for me. You're not doing it for the product owner. You're doing it for the product and the respect of each other to operate as professionals. That's the way to think about it. Now, it ain't easy, but that's the way it goes. Progress ain't easy. So how long is this? 15 minutes. You know that, right? For the developers, by the developers. Yeah. Now, hold it at the same time just so it's easier, less confusing. Now, if the product owner and Scrum Master are actively working on items in the sprint backlog, they participate as developers. Product owner doesn't need to be there. Heck, the Scrum Master doesn't even need to be there, right? If we think about it, it's for the developers, by the developers. Scrum Master can drop in. Don't need to be there. Feels weird, but it's right. Developers can select whatever structure and technique they want as long as their daily Scrum focuses on progress toward the sprint goal and produces an actionable plan for the next day. Meaning like, this is what we all know what we're going to do. Here's what we need to evolve. Here's what we need to change. Here's how we need to go through it. They feel it's good. No longer than 15 minutes. Keep it rolling, right? We find problems, talk about it afterwards, get the right people in the room. Let's go. Foxhole. That's where we are, working together. Now, daily scrums improve communication. They help identify, they have the potential. I'd say daily scrums done right have the potential, and the pursuit is to improve communications, to identify impediments, to promote quick decision-making, and to consequently eliminate the need for other meetings. That is the goal. If you say like, why are we doing all these daily scrums? Someone might ask, dude, what do you think? And the answers that we need to get out of them to help them understand is, we need y'all to communicate better. We don't want to find out problems later. It just makes everybody's job more complicated. Wouldn't it be better if everybody knew about the impediments and we could just like, boom, jump on them and knock them out, make your job easier? Would that be better? We need to have quick decision making. They call it decision latency, eliminating decision latency, meaning wait. Oh, we'll make a decision. No, now we're going to do that. And hey, we're going to cut out of the rest of the meetings. This is the one that matters for you, by you. It's not a review meeting in the sense of like reporting out to people. That's not it. For the team, by the team. Daily Scrum I love this part. Not only is not the only time developers are allowed to adjust their plan. You know when they can do it? Whenever they realize they need to. Meaning now. You realize their problem? Adjust. Communicate, adjust. They often meet throughout the day for more detailed discussions about adapting and replanning the rest of the sprint's work. Absolutely. Okay, so we're down to 2 more meetings. The one that everybody thinks is the last meeting, but is almost the last meeting, is the sprint review. The purpose of the sprint review is to inspect the outcome of the sprint and determine future adaptations. A lot of people call this the demo meeting. The correct name is the sprint review. Let's use the correct name, sprint review. The goal, purpose, inspect the outcome of the sprint. What did we get done? And they're going to have very clear language of what we can and cannot look at in the sprint review. And then by looking at it, remember way up above, right? Transparency creates the conditions for inspection. Inspection creates the conditions for adaptation. It's all coming together, bro. Now, in the review, what did we get done? Boom, transparently put it there. We inspect it versus the needs and the goal and what we're trying to accomplish. Does it do it or not? And then adaptation. It doesn't always have to be negative adaptation. It can be, oh, dude, now I realize this is better. Let's go this direction, or let's double down on this, etc. So that's what we're trying to do. Scrum team presents the result of their work to the key stakeholders, and progress toward their sprint goal is discussed. So they're getting it on the table. This is what we got done. This works. Give us your thoughts. Let's talk it out. Take it for a ride. Let's go. Let's look at it. That's how we do. During the event, the Scrum team and the stakeholders review what was accomplished. What was accomplished. This doesn't mean, oh, let's think about how everybody worked hard and we got this to this level and we'll be done in 2 more weeks. No. What was finished, accomplished in that sense means D-O-N-E, done, okay? And what has changed in the environment. Based on this information, attendees collaborate on what to do next. The product backlog also may be adjusted to meet new opportunities, meaning our knowledge, our communication, our understanding, the fog is going to clear a little bit. It's going to inform the backlog. Dig it. It's a working session, not a report out. Don't make it a presentation. This is not going to be PowerPoint. We can go through and look at the cards, product backlog items, and see what the acceptance criteria is. And that can give us kind of like a roadmap for the conversation. But we need to feel it, touch it, look at it, right? Pull the product up. If it's a physical thing, let's touch it, right? If it's a digital thing, let's goof around with it. Let's use it, okay? Now, like I said, sprint review is the second to last event in the sprint. It's time box, a maximum of 4 hours for a 1-month sprint. So 2 hours for a 2-week sprint-ish. Now, we do it as long as we need to do it. We're trying to get the feedback, the collaboration, those things. All right? Now, the last event, and then we'll go to artifacts, is the Sprint Retrospective. Retrospective is one of those events that people just slough off accidentally. Oh, it's not that important. It's insanely important, bro. The purpose of the Sprint Retrospect is to plan the ways to increase quality and effectiveness. That's the goal. How can we, as a team, get better at doing what we do? It's sharpening our saws together, open, honest, courageous. We're focusing on what we do. We're getting better incrementally. All right? How we do things. Now, the Scrum team inspects how the last sprint went with regard to the individuals, interactions, processes, tools, and the definition done. Let me not skate by that. How the team inspects how the last sprint went. And the focus, the glasses we wear, hey, how did each individual work? One person, maybe it's like a personality thing where they're like, they feel like they need to be by themselves, or they're scared to participate, or they've lost their mojo or whatever. Maybe we're looking at that. How do we interact? What processes do we use? Do we have the right tools? Are some tools killing it? We need to double down and popularize this across the rest of the team. And how are we doing with our quality standard or definition of done? Now, what we look at, the things I talk about, individuals, interactions, etc., it depends on the team, the environment, but just focus. Now, here's one of the things that the Scrum Master can do, right? That can facilitate this meeting to get it going. There's nothing wrong. Nothing. I can't even speak. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Maybe it's like, hey, in this meeting, sometimes they use these fun little engagement and facilitation techniques. We're going to think about the interactions. We're going to think about the good and the bad. We're going to think about that, kind of getting it going. But you're always trying to get the team to communicate. You never want the Scrum Master to just run it. You want people to feel honest, to be like, dude, we're in the retro. Thank God. All right, we did some changes here, but now I realize that this is what I think humbly that we can do better. I can do better. Right? You want them open, honest. You want it to be like their little opportunity to just tighten the nuts and, everything for your process. All right? Now, we talk about the assumptions that led us astray, what we believe now we understand. And then we talk about, what problems we had, how the problems were or were not solved. Better, okay? Improving our effectiveness, okay? Now, we're going to make decisions on what we can address as soon as possible, right? And then it may even be added to the backlog for the next sprint. Actions that we need to change, tasks that we need to do, stuff like that, okay? Now, at the end of the sprint retrospective, the sprint is over. Yeehaw, okay? So it's done. If we think about it from like Monday to Friday, like Monday, the first week, sprint planning. Get into daily scrums, do, and then do. Second week, that last Friday, maybe in the morning, we do the review, right? In the afternoon, early afternoon, we're doing the retro. Now, you're going to figure out what days work best. Sometimes, and now it's your choice, right? Your team's choice. Monday to Friday works. But sometimes people start like on a Wednesday to a Wednesday, whatever it is. Like we do Tuesday to Tuesday. Why? I honestly don't remember. But the team felt it best to let our reviews be on a Monday. Whatever it is, it works for us. That's just, I can't even remember now that I'm under the lights, okay? But that's the way it works.